Oh boy, I wonder what's on YouTube today. I hope it's not Filip Zieba. Oh no.
As always, just a theory, but anyone with more than half a brain cell knows that.
Well, Mr. Zieba, I don't have half a brain cell, so I'm going to ramble about this anyways. So, who am I? I'm Cobalt, I'm an idiot that spends most of their time drawing, and when I'm not, I'm reading Wikipedia. Not the most reliable source, but at least it's not Filip Zieba. This video is a poor imitation of Marlo Rothy's debunking style videos, and since I've contributed nothing to the world so far, I guess I'll just shit on this video for however long this ends up being. Also, to the two people who are gonna see this, don't harass anyone in the video, and if I'm wrong about anything, please correct me kindly. This was meant to be made for entertainment only, just like your stupid theory, Philip.
And I met you in the summer.
Ignoring your obviously bad response to Marlo Rothy's debunking video, and you ignoring the obvious harm your content might make, I know that I can prove this fringe theory is just wrong and has a lot of obvious flaws.
Dragons are real, and they've been trying to tell us this whole time. Y'all motherfuckers gonna love this one. At least that's what some people claim, and we may have even found actual proof in 2024. Even though in 1841 we already technically confirmed their existence, we just called them dinosaurs.
Starting off, no, dragons aren't real. This isn't the Middle Ages, Phil, and there's no evidence of large flying reptiles that breathe fire. Dinosaurs aren't dragons, even if theropods resemble the mythical beasts. Yes, they have been compared to dragons since the beginning, but now more than ever there's more evidence that dinosaurs are not like the classical depictions of dragons as you are about to imply.
The most recent dinosaurs that roamed the earth went extinct around 65 million years ago.
First correction, the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct closer to 66 million years ago, rather than the traditional 65. This is more of a nitpick, and an easy mistake to make, so I'll let this one slide. Though the whole 65 million years date has been ingrained to the perception of dinosaurs so much that even googling it gives 65. Or maybe it's been a million years and I'm just old.
So why do we see them in countless ancient drawings and artifacts just a couple thousand years old? Way after they allegedly went extinct, but also before we started discovering their bones.
Most of the images you used are from young Earth creationist sources, who believe the Earth is 6,000 years old. The most obvious thing, though, is that those are fake. And they have outdated depictions of dinosaurs, such as the first one, which shows a theropod, I think, standing upright, which they couldn't do. During the 19th century, when this petroglyph was discovered, theropods were thought to have an upright posture with their tails dragging on the floor as a support. However, there are many dinosaur trackways that do not show evidence of tail dragging. Along with that, their anatomy prevented them from doing such. Instead, they held their bodies parallel to the ground, more like modern-day birds. If they did drag their tails, it would literally snap. In the second image, which shows a sauropod, it has the same problem as the first, with it having the tail dragging on the floor, which, just like the theropods, they couldn't do. In multiple trackways, like the Paluxy River, which is used by a lot of creationists to prove dinosaurs coexisted with humans, it shows sauropods, theropods, and ornithischian dinosaurs, each with their tails off the ground, which aligns with our current beliefs. In the third image, although your source says it's dinosaurian in appearance, it looks nothing like any dinosaur. The closest thing I can think of is a nodosaur, or maybe an ankylosaur, but the creature is too thin and it has horns which they lacked, so I doubt there is any relationship there. The third image you show also seems like a generic dragon, which makes sense since it's from China, and it doesn't really resemble any dinosaurs. If they were theropods, their wrists couldn't be pronated to hold on the top like that, and their spines are in positions which are impossible or very uncomfortable for any group of dinosaur to make. In the sculpture you show, the dinosaur has a lot of characteristics which aren't accurate. First of all the giant scales on their back resembling spikes are only found in some hadrosaurs and sauropods, with some exceptions. The tail is way too flexible and exaggerated. Along with that, the hands are pronated, when the palm of the dinosaur's hands are supposed to be facing each other. Along with that, it has scaly skin, which it probably didn't have, rather having a layer of fur like proto-feathers.
We didn't even officially know what dinosaurs were until 1824, and they weren't even named dinosaurs until 1841. Before then, we had a different name for them: dragons. Nearly every culture of our past had their own version of a scaly, fire-breathing, flying lizard that brave warriors would face to protect their land.
Most dinosaurs weren't even scaly, and most of them are feathered. I'm mostly talking about theropods since they are compared to dragons the most. And yes, while some lineages of theropods could fly, they didn't have bat-like wings of dragons, except for maybe Yi Chi.
And this is just the tip. I think you know where we're going. Over to Angkor Wat in Cambodia, we see more carvings of what looks like a stegosaurus. Carlisle Cathedral in England has etchings of animals unlike we've ever seen. Down in Australia, the Aborigines had this painting of a creature they hunted, and it don't look like anything I know. The Yuan Diao dragon figure from the Shang dynasty about 2000 BC, which looks almost exactly like a T-Rex. And I mean, ancient China is just filled to the brim with bronze statues thousands of years old that resemble our extinct lizard pals. Here's a Mesopotamian jasper cylinder seal from the Uruk period about 3500 BC, and if that ain't a long neck, then I don't know what to tell you. Mind you, these are all several hundred, if not thousands of years old, and they're all over the ancient world. Like, are those humans riding dinosaurs in a 16th century painting? And who can forget about the Acambaro figurines, a collection of 30,000 minifigures uncovered in Mexico of dinosaurs and humans riding them. Initial dating analyses estimated them to be about 4,500 years old, but follow-up stated they were made in the 1930s. So they can quickly dismiss them as a hoax, debunked and move on, but evidence kept on coming. The Ica stones, a collection of more than 15,000 engraved stones which depict... what's that look like to you? Discovered in Peru, said to be over 1,000 years old, and again later claimed a hoax by the one who found them.
That depiction of a stegosaurus is wrong. Its tail is very low and the head is too big. That depiction of two sauropods has the necks too low on the body, and their necks are way too flexible, and their limbs are not anatomically accurate, and this is most likely a coincidence or fake. The depiction of a plesiosaur has a bendable swan-like tail, which was physically impossible, and the tail doesn't have the tail flute which they possessed. That figure looks more like a ceratosaur, and you even show a ceratosaur in the picture behind you. Again, a lot of outdated traits I already mentioned, like pronated wrists and scaly skin, when it possibly had proto-feathers, and those are traits the oldest dinosaur ancestor had, so it should be assumed they had light feathering at least rather than bumpy scaly skin. First of all, dinosaurs aren't lizards. Second of all, although sculptures have no dinosaur traits at all, that long neck again is an impossible position. Again, you're making me sound like a broken record, but those dinosaur depictions are outdated and have impossible features, like its back legs being sprawled outwards rather than under its body, which it couldn't do. The Ica stones were faked, and it was admitted by the creator that they were fake. And no, they weren't silenced by the government. They are more focused on more important things than some farmers' art project to make money.
Possible that humans had contact, or at the very least knowledge of dinosaurs in ancient times? Absolutely not, unless they're not as old as we think they are. In 2003, a researcher, Dr. Mary Schweitzer, found a T-Rex femur that was so big they had to snap it in half for transport, something they usually don't do. They do that, take it back to the lab, and inside the bone they find preserved red blood cells. They couldn't believe it. Red blood cells don't last very long, and soft tissue was thought to deteriorate even under the best of conditions within 1 million years. Never mind over 68 million years, even inside of a bone. They concluded it must be a new preservation method they were previously unaware of, which could be the case, calm the f down. But since then, they started cracking open more dinosaur bones, finding veins and even soft organic tissue that was stretchy and had an odor, which led some to believe that it could be possible that maybe some dinosaurs were around much more recently than we thought.
Yes, it is a new preservation method, and they confirmed it by preserving an ostrich's red blood cells for a longer period than how long red blood cells usually last.
Before we knew what dinosaurs were, there was a different type of giant reptile that was found in many oral traditions and stories. Dragons. In China, South America, Africa, Rome, Aboriginal Australia, we get legends and images of humans fighting off giant scaly winged creatures that flew and breathed fire. All the way up until medieval times, tales of dragons all around the world. So did everyone just coincidentally come up with the exact same mythical creature, or did they actually see it?
Dragons are most likely based off other reptiles like snakes and lizards rather than dinosaurs, since dinosaurs have traits that aren't found in any other reptiles.
Real animals, and then they randomly decided to throw in just one mythical creature, the dragon. Having 12 real animals makes more sense to me. Turns out they might have been onto something, because we may have just found the fossil of one in the heart of China. So the potential reason dragon bones might be so rare is because dragons could fly, just like birds. Birds have extremely light, low-density bones that don't fossilize very easily, and it's very likely that dragons would have had the same. Until recently, this was announced. Discovered fossilized remains remains of a 5-meter-long reptile in southern China. Officially called Dinocephalosaurus orientalis, it has been dubbed the Chinese dragon fossil, as unlike any dinosaur fossil we've ever found. Although it's said to be 240 million years old, that's also exactly what they said about the dinosaurs. Did humans coexist with dinosaurs, and were dragons just a rare species of dinosaur that we hunted into extinction for the safety of our future?
Bullshit. Dinosaurs also have hollow, lightweight bones. Birds are dinosaurs, and many fossils of birds have been found, like Archaeopteryx. The largest flying creature that has been discovered, Quetzalcoatlus, was the size of a giraffe, and they also have hollow, lightweight bones. Not because they're dinosaurs, but because they belong to the same clade, Avis metatarsalia. If dragons were to be large, they would have the same likelihood to fossilize as other dinosaurs, and there is a certain size where it will become completely incapable of flight, so that argument is invalid. Dinocephalosaurus went extinct a million years before the oldest ever dinosaur, and isn't even a dinosaur to begin with. So even if it was a dragon, that doesn't prove that dinosaurs are dragons. Along with that, it was an aquatic species, and could not fly.
What mic do you use? It sounds great.
I don't know, I've never had problems.
So, after careful consideration and 13 open tabs, I am now a Google debunker. Oh, and your theory is implausible. Again, this was meant for entertainment and not to harass you. This was just for fun. I have my link sourced in the description. I might be wrong about some of the things I said, and in that case, I'd love to be corrected. But now I'm going to go destroy more dragons for the Smithsonian. You know, to hide the truth about dragons being real.
Who are you talking to?
Shit.